Hey everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and last night we had something very interesting happen in the Leafs game against the Detroit Red Wings. The opening goal of the game, Bobby McMann kicks the puck, trying to get it to a stick. It deflects off of Olli Maatta, goes into the net, and it's called no goal. An immediate reaction, everybody's up in arms. Today I'm seeing a lot of opinions filtering through on the incident. And I just, of course, wanted to hop on here and discuss my own opinion about it. And right off the bat, as soon as I watched the replay, I knew it's not a goal. And there's a reason why I felt that, and that's because there has been a precedent set for this exact situation in the NHL this season against the Toronto Maple Leafs when the New Jersey Devils had their third goal of the game disallowed when Eric Halla kicked the puck, went off of, I believe, Nick Robertson and into the net. Exact same situation, got called off in that game and should and did get called off last night. Now, the fact that I knew that this was not going to count does differ from my opinion on whether it should or should not count. The big distinguishing factor about this specific goal is that Bobby McMann is kicking the puck to his stick, and his stick is right there about to get the puck in a position where there's a wide open net, but Olli Maatta kicks it before it reaches Bobby McMann's stick, and it goes into the net before he has a chance to get his stick on it. And look, you can argue whether you would or would not have gotten it there, but I think it's a strong case to suggest that had Olli Maatta not touched it, it was going into the net anyway, off of McMahon's stick in a fully legal fashion and would have counted. So for argument's sake, you could say that any defending player should just accidentally knock a puck into their own net anytime they see a distinct kicking motion, because they know that automatically it'll get waved off, as opposed to allowing that puck to get through, potentially having a stick get on it, and the puck then going into the net, resulting in a good goal. So that is the main little gray area for me, that and the fact that, again, Olli Maatta was completely at fault for this. It's not like a pure deflection. He was skating back, kicked the puck into his own net. I don't care how the puck got into that situation. When Olli Maatta knocks it into his own net in that kind of fashion, I think it should count. But as far as the rule book goes, this is not a goal. And I think that they got the call right. And I'm actually happy that for the first time in what seems like forever, the NHL has set a precedent and maintained it throughout the season. And I don't know, we're probably not going to see this happen again in this NHL season. But if we do, I would hope that it has the same result. Now, I think both of the goals should have counted. But I do understand the rule, and I actually respect the rule. You can't have a situation where there's 5 bodies in front of the net at the end of a game and you have it legal to kick a puck into the net, even if it does get deflected, and you just got people, straight up trying to boot the thing when there's bodies on the floor, when the goalie's trying to grab it. You're going to have some bad incidences. I'm thinking right off the top of my head, the Evander Kane situation where his wrist got slit earlier this season. That was purely accidental in the middle of play, but that could be a lot more common if we allow kicking the puck into the net. So I actually stand by the rule. I understand why it's in place. I think it's a good rule for safety, but in this situation, man, it really does suck. As far as Bobby McMann goes, though, I mean, I thought he's been really, really good to start his NHL career. I was actually fortunate enough to go to the game on Wednesday with my girlfriend. We bought tickets, and there's a couple of degrees of separation from knowing Bobby McMann. We know some people that he knows, so we were a little bit excited to watch his first NHL game, his NHL debut, and honestly, I thought he did really well. He was immediately placed on the third line, had over 10 or 11 minutes of ice time, which to me is very unusual for a player playing in his first game, especially a player of McMahon's status. It's not like this is a guy that's highly touted as a prospect. This is a guy that's a depth player for you, and typically they get sheltered role on the fourth line for 5 or 6 minutes in their first game and just try to get through it. But Bobby McMann, thrown into the fire, and off the bat, I thought he had an immediate impact, was getting on the forecheck, laid the body a little bit, used his speed. There was one play in particular, Connor Bedard-esque. He was along the boards, dove, swatted the puck over to a wide open Alex Kerfoot, who, of course, missed the net. But he had a really good game, and then the next game here against Detroit, followed it up with another good game. Didn't get a lot of minutes in the third period, and I understand that given the fact that it's a tight, low-scoring game. You're going to ride your stars, but he did very well, very serviceable, and I would not be surprised if we see him stick in the lineup for just a little bit longer until he proves that he shouldn't be. And yes, that would include him staying in the lineup for this Saturday's game, tomorrow's game, which I'm going to say it, you might think it's crazy. Tomorrow is a playoff game. You got to look at it that way. Tomorrow is the first playoff game for the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2023. No, it's not the postseason, but it sure means a whole heck of a lot. They're walking into Boston, playing the Boston Bruins at home, who just got their first regulation home loss of the year. I cannot believe it took this long, but Seattle Kraken actually beat them 3-0. And so they need to go on a little bit of a slide here. I did say it in my last video, they're bound to go on like a 3 or 4 game losing streak. So the Leafs need to walk in there and be confident enough to give the Boston Bruins their second straight loss at home, because every single game counts now. I know people are counting out the Toronto Maple Leafs from the division and the President's Trophy. Look, it's far-fetched, absolutely, but you can't just roll over and die. Not to mention the fact that the Tampa Bay Lightning are shockingly close to the Toronto Maple Leafs in the standings. You cannot be giving any games to Tampa Bay. You cannot be risking home ice advantage. And if you can push the Boston Bruins for the top of the division, absolutely do so. This is not just 2 points. It's a 4-point swing. If you beat the Boston Bruins in regulation, well, they lose a game in hand and don't get any points for it. You gain a game in hand and you got 2 points for it. This is a critical matchup. If the Boston Bruins beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially in regulation, they just get that much further out of reach and Tampa gets that much closer. It's a double whammy. The Leafs have to be prepared. Must. Absolutely have to. And even if they come out with a poor performance, which I thought they did not play well at all in this game against the Detroit Red Wings, if they have another performance like that, I don't care. Find a way to win. The Leafs absolutely must win this game on Saturday. It is a must win just because we know the Toronto Maple Leafs. We know that when they get in situations where it's on the line, think of elimination games in the past in the playoffs, they falter. They fail to step up to that big moment. Here's your first big moment. Prove it. Prove it to us. Prove it to the coaches. But most importantly, prove it to yourselves. That sounds cheesy, but the Toronto Maple Leafs have been the main enemy of themselves throughout the last however many years in the playoffs. They've beaten themselves because of the mental aspect. I don't think they truly believe that they can do it because it's been year and year of the same results. So this Saturday is a situation where you have to look at it like a must win and you need to win it. If you don't, it's just going to add to that mental pressure that you put on yourselves in the playoffs. But if you do win this game, it could be just that little bit of hope and belief that you go, well, we said that we would win. We said that we had to, and we did. So I'm looking at this game as a very important game. I would also look that Austin Matthews does return in this game. I think there's a 0% chance he doesn't play in this game, even if he's under the weather, even if he's not healthy. He's got to play. There's no reason why he should have played in either of those back-to-back games. I think that they made the right decision. Apparently, it was an illness that kept him out of the game against Detroit, but I would have wanted him to stay out anyway. What's the point? If he's going to miss on Wednesday, might as well miss on Thursday. The most important game is Saturday. Need to win that game. Austin Matthews needs to be in the lineup. Bobby McMann, I hope, is still in the lineup. Connor Timmins better be back in the lineup over Jordy Ben, who I actually thought was pretty good. Had a bad penalty, but a couple of really good sliding plays. It's a must-win game. Go out and make it happen. So anyway, really quick, there's my thoughts about the kick, about the upcoming game against the Boston Bruins. What do you think? What do you think about the rule? What do you think about whether it should have counted or not? I'm interested to hear your opinion, but I do think that they made the right call according to the rule books. So thank you so much for clicking on this video, and good luck to the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow night, Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, in Boston.